Hello, Hopkinton, and welcome to the Hopkinton Hangout Hour. I'm your host, Mike DeRosa, for tonight, Wednesday, February 24th. And with me, and I thank goodness they're with me, is some of our wonderful favorites here at H Camp. Oh, and we have Bob Hamilton and Jim Cousins joining me. Hi, guys. How you doing?
Yay, I'm happy to be here. It's my highlight of my Wednesday.
Bob, you need to smile when you say that. Hello, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and just a fun night. We haven't got together in one of these shows for a while, and it's nice that we got a little catch up here because we're sort of like in between seasons again. As the winter sports has passed, and we're getting ready for the fall too, or the early spring, whatever you want to call it. But also, different shows are happening, different COVID rules, which means we're doing all sorts of different things. So basically, like I said, sports is done, and hopefully Tom will join us and give us a little bit of what's been going on there. But Jim, we have some different things going on in the studios. We're learning some new equipment.
It's been very different, of course, as everything in life. But we really, as we transition to a much more remote production style, I had to put in a few pieces of equipment so that we could actually dial into the studio and control a bunch of equipment in there, all the way from computers to power cycling machines to streaming boxes so that we can send our signals out. So we've really expanded our capacity for that. And we've always had the ability to go live on YouTube from the control room. But now with our equipment, we can actually go live with 3 different streams from our master control booth at the studio. So whatever's going on TV, we have a box that can go on YouTube. Whatever's going on Ed, that's a box. We can go on YouTube. And we also have a third one connected to our preview output. So if someone were out in the field and, for example, Mike Terosian is out in the field at his house directing and producing this show, then we could send that signal on our third MBS. Although with this style, actually, Mike's going on our YouTube channel from his house. So, for example, if somebody was, if we were doing a feed from the huddle camera, which Mike used to talk about what that process is, we could go on YouTube with 3 different video feeds, which is exciting because there have been times. I don't think we've ever had 4, but there have been times when we've had 3 shows going on at the same time, and we only have 2 channels, but we can have multiple streams on our YouTube. Bob, what's the largest number you remember of 3 things happening simultaneously?
Well, that's exactly the number, 3 things. But we've had on the 2 channels, we've had, for example, on TV, we've had a select board meeting going on, and then YouTube, we have the Concom going on at the same time. And we can also have on the Ed channels, we have the sports events in the gymnasium, as well as sending that out on YouTube. And we can have the planning board going out from the library at that time on both either TV, Ed, or YouTube. Of course, at one time we used to use Facebook, but we've gotten away from that as well.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I know there's times that we've had even more than 3 things going on at a time, and this was pre-COVID, when we would have a play going on, but that wasn't broadcasted live. That was recorded and edited later for viewing, because of course they want everyone for the performance. So between like school concerts, a couple government meetings, and a play or something, we've had 4 or 5 things going on at once, which really spread the crews thin. But as far as broadcast capabilities, everything seems to be happening live because they're happening remotely, and people are, you can't have this here talking a meeting and sending it out late, people want to see it right away. So we really upped it because people just can't get to the events, and they don't want to watch it later.
So I'm not putting you on the spot about it, but I'm interested to see if you can remember, because oftentimes you have a better memory than me for these things. Can you remember what was the productions on one of the busiest production moment that we've had, with like 4 or 5 things going on? Obviously, 1 or 2 of them would be government meetings.
Right. Well, I could tell you that during the winter time would probably be a concert, a sporting event, government meeting, and a show at the studio, because most of the talk shows were done at in the evenings, like Physician Focus. And a matter of fact, I think that was the night we had Physician Focus. We had a concert because John was there. Tom was at the sporting events. I think you had to do Physician Focus, and I did the meeting or whatever. We were so scattered that night. And yes, it was studio, middle school, high school, and I forget where the other meeting was. But
okay. So,
well, Mike, I'm Jim. Sorry, I've been at the high school with school committee meeting going out live, basketball game going on, our volleyball game going on in the gymnasium, and a play going on in the auditorium. And we had the play was being recorded, the school committee was going out, and the gymnasium was just being recorded because we didn't have enough to send the production out at that time. But it was all being filmed by HCAM, by different cameras, different groups, and recording in different places.
yeah. Okay, so Mike, Bob and I are going to talk for a minute. See if you can track down the echo issue going on.
yeah, I heard.
So
Okay.
no, go ahead. So Bob,
Yep.
one of the things I really love the most is that people can get connected with things that are important in the community, and there are a few staples, and one of them, of course, is government meetings, because it affects. We are like the C-SPAN of Hopkinton, and we carry a lot of as many meetings as we can. In fact, since we first started, it really has grown to a larger number. Our town manager, Norman Kamalo, really encourages that. So we try to, bring as much coverage as we can. I'm curious, with all the meetings that you've been covering and putting out live through Zoom, live onto our channels, how has that been? What's the feeling like? How different is it versus being at the town hall meeting chamber?
For me, it's a lot different because obviously I can see anybody that's been in a Zoom meeting can see that there's a participants' pictures around the outside of the speaker view. And we usually put up speaker view, so whoever's speaking during a government meeting is the one that's projected out to the television. But in government meetings, being present, for example, we upgraded all the equipment in the town hall, and we actually had the robotic cameras. So I was able to take several pictures of the audience and their reaction, people at the front table that were doing a presentation, and the board members as they spoke, as well as the staff as they presented. And we were able to put things up on the big screen TVs in there. So I was able to do a lot of that and then funnel it out to the television. So that made me the director, the producer, and I was able to control most everything that was going on, as well as the sound. Even though some people might have some issues with the sound at point, because we had specific microphones that were set up just for the select board members, because it was the primary sound audio that we wanted to pick up. And sometimes when someone would speak from the audience, we wouldn't actually get that sound. But I was able to switch around to a remote camera and pick up who was speaking. And then when the response came from the select board members, whoever might be answering, I was able to pick that up. So being involved with the individuals in that particular scenario was better than sitting upstairs in my room looking at the computer, where I have to just listen to what's happening, watch for the cues when it's over, stop all the equipment, shut it down, that kind of thing. It's gotten pretty routine now. For example, on planning board meetings, it's comes on. We didn't even develop the Zoom. All we do is come as a member. They make us a participant so that we can control it and send it out remotely through our studio. And there's really little interaction between myself and the participants, whether they're the public or the members of the boards. Usually it's just John Gelsich and making sure that I have access so I can get things set up and go out that way. And a similar issue with the school committee. When I used to do the school committee at the high school in the library, or even over in the middle school before they moved to the library, there were plenty of times when the audience was full, people were there, they had comments to make, there was a lot of public comments. Now those are submitted by email and read out by a member of the school committee, and there's a very little interaction. So for me, it's a lot different being at home, just handling my computer. Even sometimes it's very easy to just lose a lot of the nuances that you get by being there, seeing reaction from people, body language. You don't really get to see that well during this remote process. I look forward to getting back to doing them locally. I mean, at the school, in the library, or at the town hall, or even in the public library for the planning board. I don't mind doing that, but until there's, at least for me, the vaccinations are up for COVID-19 and that's been settled. It's still better to have this format available than nothing at all, because it would be very hard for people to participate in town government or even know what's going on if we didn't have some broadcast either on TV, ed, or YouTube for people to pick it up and listen to it and monitor it.
Oh, I agree. I think that it's really been critical during this time. I'm curious from your perspective, how have the different boards and committees adapted to this virtual way? Is it like more difficult for them, or is it just business as usual?
Now, wait a minute, Jim. You know I have to go sit in those rooms and broadcast these at some future date. So they've all done an excellent job of changing their process so that they can broadcast to the community and get their information out. They all have emails, like the select board gets emails from the town, and they know what's going on. And anybody that's interested, anybody that has a complaint or a suggestion, can get it to the proper board. But for them to respond, it's basically just on a one-to-one basis. And you may not even find out about it at the regular meeting until it becomes an issue, and then they can put it on the agenda and talk about it. So I think the boards have done what they could. And every time there's a remote meeting, they're required to read the statement from the state of Massachusetts, the Commonwealth, that says what they're doing, why they're doing it, and what the limitations are for the public meeting. So I think they're doing the best they can under the conditions. I think personally that every member of every board would much prefer to have the face-to-face contact with the public when they're discussing the issues that are before them.
Yes, I agree. And just for the record, I was not asking for names.
I can't give you any names.
Okay.
Well,
All right,
Jim,
Mike.
Jim, to add on to that too, one of the things that, of course, they never had to worry about how they looked on camera because we always adjusted the cameras. But now they're at home and on Zoom. We were able to, they asked us for advice, on how to frame up their shots, lighting, and so on and so forth. And a lot of them do a great job, framing up. So I'll look at, because in the beginning, some of them, there'd be too much headroom and too much light behind them and so forth. So they want to look good on TV. So, like I said, they had us to take care of that for them. Whereas before, Whereas now, they have to take care of themselves.
Right, right. So now, so government meetings, awesome that we do. The sports coverage, I'm so grateful for all the work that all of you do. Um, Mike Trojan, Bob Hamilton, Tom Nappy, John Ritz, Matt Clark. I don't want to miss anybody. Mike, who am I miss? Who else has been helping out
Our
with
athletic
me?
director, Rich Cormier,
Yeah,
set you up with the huddle.
yeah.
Steve
So,
Sweetapple.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead,
The
Steve.
announcers too. It's like the in this at this time when people cannot go and see their students, their kids competing. For us to be able to do this has been tremendous. And so those things are great. And I also want to make sure we mention that one of our all-time all-star producers, Cheryl Peralt, has been working on programming. And she's just started a new series monthly, which is going to be live the first Friday of the month, called Common Ground Storytelling. And what I love about this show is that there's just regular people from our community telling a 5-minute story from their life. And it's just really cool because, it's so accessible. I always tell people that people don't watch us because we look like Channel 5. They watch us because we're Hopkinton. They watch us because we're local. And that's what this show is all about. It's so accessible. It is taking, just like the regular people like us on there. Same thing with Keep Moving with Amy Beck from the Senior Center. She's not making like this tremendous produced, takes forever to make show. She's just making a show to connect with the seniors in Hopkinton and keep them apprised of what's going on. So, that's those programs. The fact that we're able to do that is just really exciting. Now, before we do wrap up here, we got a little bit more. But I just saw our news director, aka sports director, Tom Nappy, has popped in. So, Tom, thanks for joining us.
No problem. Good to be here.
All right. Now we talked a little bit about sports and stuff going on, but what I'd like to hear from you? I'd like to hear from your perspective how this quote unquote season of the pandemic season has been going for you and all the live sports that you've been doing and the sports talk show that you're promoting behind you.
Absolutely. Well, it's been it's hectic, but it's been fun. We had a great fall season to start things off, and all the games are pretty much on weekends. And then we had the winter season, and it was pretty normal winter schedule. It was good to see the kids out there and playing basketball and hockey. Hockey was a sport that a lot of people were worried about since they had some incidents in arenas with the virus and all that stuff. But fortunately, they were able to get out there. And now we're going to have a big difference. We're going to have some football and volleyball in March, which is going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm glad to see that the football kids get a chance to play the sport they love as well. I know it was a huge bummer in the fall when we didn't have football around, so at least they get to play now. But it should be.
I'm trying to imagine football in March. Couldn't that be really hard?
Yeah, it's going to be different as long as the weather cooperates. If we get more snow, there could be a little bit of trouble because it's tough to clear off those fields. And likely they'll be using the turf field for most of the season. But the season goes to April, so who knows? Maybe they'll even get some warm weather out of it. But it's going to be different. It's going to be a little strange. But I guess the most important thing is letting the kids play.
Yeah, I've been telling my wife, I know who knows what's coming in March or even April, but as long as we're through February, that's like a milestone for me. So, Tom, tell us a little bit about your sports talk show.
It's called HCAM Sports Talk Live. It airs every Wednesday at 3 p.m., and we talk to a lot of local sports figures. On today's show, we had a great discussion with Hopkinton High School Athletic Director Rich Cormier. And we talked all about the Fall 2 season. And the good news about it is the rules in football, the rules in volleyball, it's pretty much going to be the regular rules. Not a whole lot of rule changes like we saw in the fall with soccer and field hockey. The audience will be limited, unfortunately. It'll be 2 lanyards for each home player that they could give out for somebody to go to the game. But we'll have all the games live for you on HCAM, so you'll be able to watch it on the HCAM Ed channel as well as YouTube. But the sports show every Wednesday at 3 p.m. And we talk a lot about high school sports. We also talk some college sports and pro sports, and it's a lot of fun. So please join us.
Fantastic. Great work you do, Tom. Hey, and thanks for taking time to pop on this show, too.
No problem. Sounds good. And
All right.
we could have an exciting spring. I just want to mention real quick, the spring season comes after fall, too, and it might be going to early July. They're going to extend it, and they're going to try to get pretty much the full spring season in with a potential playoff system. So that should be interesting.
Wow. Wow, amazing. All right. Well, make sure you catch up on your sleep.
I'm going to need it.
All right. Thanks. Take care.
Take care, guys.
All right. So we're getting close to the end. I'm going to be jumping off in a couple minutes because I'm going over to another computer at HCAM where I'm going to be connecting with the Hopkinton High School Science Fair. So, of course, this year, the Science Fair is virtual. Usually, HCAM or the HHS TV class will send a camera down to the library where they hold the Science Fair. We talk to the students and see what they're doing. And it's really cool. It's a lot of fun. So this time virtually, what they did was they had the kids make a video demonstrating what their science project was and submitting it that way. And so in just about 8 minutes, they're going to have a live program via Zoom where they announce the winners and, and talk about that. So when they contacted me, I said, hey, why don't we put it on the air? We can do it live. So they were all excited about that. So that's actually so cool. We're going to put it live on HCAM TV and HCAM Ed, as well as if you're watching us on YouTube, it'll be on our YouTube channel too. So, it's great. I mean, everybody's getting anxious. Everybody is so looking forward to the vaccine rollout and getting more doses so that we can, get more and more back to regular life as we can. But it's really exciting. I always tell people it's so wonderful when I see somebody not letting this pandemic stop them, not letting it get in the way. It changes what we do, but we're still doing what we do. So I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jim. And, as the weather's getting better, too, and talk about bringing some programs back, Margie Wiggin wants to get back out there to see what's out there and start bringing you some of the scenes and sights from the trails here in town and around town as well. Cheryl Peralta, another show, she's back doing Meet Your Neighbor. She decided to take it virtually because we know we're going on longer and they're talking about, wearing masks for another year and the vaccine rollout slowing down. But instead of going to people's homes, we're doing that virtually as well. So it was nice to have Cheryl still doing that. And, we're just hoping that once this breaks, we can start seeing people face to face. Jim, when was the last time I saw you? Before Thanksgiving, I think. We bumped into each other.
So.
I think we had to fix something or something.
I know there was one time that I was leaving something at the studio for you, and I think we crossed paths on the way out, and that was it. Oh my gosh.
I would have missed you, but somebody, I guess, met you in the hallway, talked to you, and we were able to cross paths. But yeah, it's tough, and we like being out there. We want to be out in the community and see what's going on, and not having things go on is tough. How can you cover something that's not going to happen? So, but
I know. What sometimes I can't even think about it too much because our job is all about community, and it's really hard being in a TV studio that you cannot have anybody in. Right. It's hard because we're sitting around the set, everybody's talking. It's it's difficult. I'm so looking forward to it. Getting
All right.
back.
Well, I am too as well. So, Jim, thank you for coming on with me today and talking about things going on. I'm going to let you run. Go take care of that science fair, and I will. I think I'm going to Zoom with you tomorrow sometime.
Okay. All right. Great job tonight. Great job.
Great. And
So,
Take
Mike,
care.
while Jim's taking off, I wanted to follow up on. I know I talked about government meetings, but one of the things I wanted to mention was that Sean McAuliffe and Casey did
Yeah.
a great job throughout the year trying to get them on. And they've given the town a great amount of information. So I want to let them know that we appreciate what they've done and where they are. And hopefully that'll get across to everybody. This currently is turned in to be the Bob Hamilton show, but I think, Mike, are you coming back now?
Oh yeah. So, but I want to tell you, you know, on top of Sean and Casey, who worked tirelessly, we have our chiefs. You know, Chief Slammin and Chief Bennett working hard, and again taking the time out of their schedule to come on and to keep the community updated. I mean, they're doing their updates through their Twitters, they do it through their Facebooks, they do it through the town websites, and by attending, you know, the selectmen's meetings and so forth to give them updates. But they also take time, not just during the day while they're working, but at home for like our evening show at 7 o'clock at night. You know, we get Sean at home, and of course, it's our favorite, but funny. I mean, he's tirelessly working. He had a tree fall on his house in the middle of the show, and he got up and looked at it and came back and continued.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's just these guys are dedicated, and we're so happy that we have those kind of people working in town, and you know want to get the word out. So we're what's also nice. Another couple things coming up. EHOP will be back, and we're going to do a virtually know your vote before town meeting. Town meeting is in May, and so we're in the planning stages. So on April 26th, we're going to have your know your vote program here on HCAM, followed by our favorite on on the 28th will be the Hopkinton Women's Club meet the candidates. So we're working that out right now. So we still don't know if we're going to be back in the studio by then. Right now it doesn't look like it. So you'll probably see another virtual show done on here.
And as you mentioned, we have had a lot of people on the show since we started this Hopkinton Hangout Hour, which originally it was designed to help connect the members of the public to each other and their town government and the school system. And I think we've done a good job with that, but we've been able to offer airtime to a lot of groups. Obviously, just recently we had the Timlin race come on.
Sure.
We've had Tim Kilduff on talking about marathon requirements. So there are a lot of things that has come across the Hangout Hour that has really been a boon to the citizenry of Hopkinton. Absolutely
right, Bob. And again, you know, send us an email, you know, go to our website, stay informed, hcam.tv. It's going to tell you everything that you need to know. So, again, thank you, Jim Cousins, Tom Nappy, Bob. We're getting ready to go, and we're going to see you all guys next time on Monday at 2 o'clock. Take care.